Good morning. We're here at the Miami Boat Show. This is Saturday morning, and we're with Will Keene from Edson Steering. Edson's been with Catalina for how long, Will?
We started supplying steering systems to Catalina Yachts back in 1976, I believe.
And you've got a little short story to tell about your first experience with Frank.
Well, I had a wonderful experience with Frank. He called me on the carpet for a couple of things, and you know, as Frank does, he doesn't mince his words for sure. And it was my first sales trip, and for the Edson Corporation, and we lost his business briefly, and then we gained it back, and we've been on board ever since, designing steering systems with Jerry so that they work in the installation process well, and they also work on the boats well, which I think is really the key.
Yeah. So how have they evolved?
Well, in the old days, you know, in the old days being 1979, 1980, the primary navigational tool was a compass.
Right.
So we had a little round pedestal that took a 5-inch compass, and that was, you know, it had one wire running through it, you know, from the compass light, and that was it. So, you know, it was all pretty compact. Well, nowadays, you know, we've got chart plotters and radars and engine instruments, and you know, a lot of wiring that has to come up through the pedestals. So a number of years ago, Jerry and I got together back in I think it was 2004, 2005, and Jerry said, "Hey, Will, isn't it time we revisited the pedestal?" He said, "Let's start fresh." And I said, "Jerry, let me come down. I'm going to fly down to the factory, and let's go through the process together so that we design a really good pedestal, and I want you to be part of it." Because Jerry and I have been working together now for 30 years, and have a really good relationship in terms of making things work. And so on the way down, I was reading a magazine on the airplane about the latest things in new cars, and the latest thing in new cars at the time were in-dash GPS navigation systems. And I said to myself, wow, you know, who knows how to use a GPS navigation system better than anybody? It's the moms and the kids, because they're playing with it every day in the car.
Right.
And it tells you exactly where you are, which is a benefit that it, you know, far exceeds what a magnetic compass can do. And so we just said, wait a minute, this is what's going to start happening. I mean, it already was, but it was happening in pods and things of that nature. And we were trying to say, okay, how do we integrate it into the pedestal itself? And so that was conceived. That's how this pedestal was conceived, the 476 pedestal, and so we went from a round shape to a square / rectangular shape, and that allowed us to do some things internally that would make the addition of instruments a lot easier, a lot less time consuming, and just a lot more efficient. What we did was we moved the sprocket that carries the steering chain all the way to the forward end of the pedestal, so we opened up the whole aft end of the pedestal for a huge array of wires and plugs and things of that nature. So it was really good. We hid all of the pedestal mounting bolts, so everything is stud mounted, so you don't see any heads of any bolts. All the studs are aluminum, so they're 100% galvanically compatible with the base. And what we did was we designed it in a way that we could wire the pedestal with all of the steering cables at our factory instead of having them wired at the Catalina factory on installation. A lot more efficient. So what we wanted to do was to take the labor content out of the installation for Catalina Yachts on the production line. And at that stage in the game, we were able to basically streamline the installation process from the factory, minimize any installation issues at the factory, and just make it a neater, cleaner operation. So the pedestal can go on in the deck department. All the wires, all the engine control cables and everything are tied to the underside of the deck. The radial drive wheel goes on the rudder post in the hull department when the rudder goes in, and then when the hull and the deck are mated, the wires get hooked up, the engine controls get hooked up, and the boat continues down the production line. So it's been very, very efficient and effective in terms of saving man hours, simplifying the installation, and on a boat, simple is better. Fewer parts to maintain, fewer things to go wrong, And so that was really the whole kind of focus of what we were trying to do. Now, in a chain and wire steering system, which all the Catalinas use, you basically have a steering chain, like a bicycle chain, that runs over a sprocket inside the pedestal. And it goes down about half to 2/3 of the way down through the pedestal, and connects to wires that go around pulleys underneath the pedestal and then back to a radial drive wheel. The only thing that an owner really has to keep an eye on initially is during the first couple of months of use of the boat, the steering cables will stretch initially. And so there are some take-a-buys down there, and on our website, which is www.edsonmarine.com, we have little instructions and things on how to tension steering cables. But that's about all that really needs to be done initially. And that's when you get a little bit of play in the wheel, that's the signal that you should be tensioning your steering cables a little bit. Other than that, there are maintenance things that need to be done, that are pretty minor, annual, but more than anything, it's important to inspect it and look at it, because basically everything in a chain and wire system it's simple. It tells a story when you look at it and inspect it, and there are a lot of things that you can look for, and we've got really good documentation of all of that on our website.
I know Catalina provides an Edson manual with every boat, but also a customer, if he does misplace or get someplace with that manual, he can go on your website and download
all of it. And you can also call Edson customer service, and you can also call me. My cell phone number is I think listed on our website. It's 508-353-4829. It's 24/7 and
24/7, right?
24/7.
Yeah.
That's the service that we provide Catalina Yachts. I mean, if you have a steering issue, there's probably no one that can help you work through it faster than I can. And on boats with automatic pilots, they're independently mounted of your primary steering system, so they are your electronic emergency tiller. And that's something that a lot of people,
What's that again now?
Your autopilot is on the bigger boats is independently mounted on its own separate arm on the rudder post. It's its own steering system. So if for any reason you have a problem with the steering system, with the primary steering system, you can put the boat right on the autopilot and it will be totally under control. A lot of people go fishing for the emergency tiller, and, trying to find it under all the gear in the sail lock, or it's always at the deepest point. Get the boat on autopilot immediately. And in fact, I would encourage everybody to sail with their autopilot on standby.
Yeah.
Why? Because your autopilot likes to be turned on. It likes to heat itself up. It's good for it. It likes to be used. The systems on boats, probably the biggest issue with systems on boats is atrophy, lack of use. So use your equipment, enjoy your boat, get out there on the water and have a wonderful time.
We're going to talk about a little diversity at Edson Marine right now, and Will, what's going on with the company and what people don't know about Edson.
Well, we do a lot of different things, Ron. We do pumps for the military to discharge all the wastewater out of all the mobile field hospitals and shower shave units and laundromats and mess halls. We make holding tank pump out systems for all the marinas. We pump the effluent of the affluent, and we've been doing that for years. Back in the 1800s, we used to make horse-drawn honey wagons. When our waters started to become polluted in the 1980s and people could no longer shellfish in some of the harbors along the East Coast because they're shallow and don't have much tide to them, there was a lot of pollution caused by boaters, so I actually went down to Congress and testified in favor of the Clean Vessel Act, and that enabled marinas to get some government assistance on the installation of holding tank pump out systems. We just introduced a new product for the Edson Corporation, a consumable product, which is a little different for us. It's a series of packaged microbes that will eat oil and turn oil into fatty acids that won't harm the environment. Actually will provide food for the fish, believe it or not. And they're what the scientists found on the floor of the Gulf after the major oil spill we had out there this past summer. They tried to find the oil, and they said, hey, the oil's gone. It was all eaten by naturally occurring microbes. Well, we're packaging those now in a way that would allow you to put them into your bilge, so if there's any leak of diesel fuel or transmission fluid or engine oil in your bilge, these microbes will eat it up so that you're not discharging oil over the side. We also make the same, use a similar kind of microbe to eat waste out of holding tanks and things of that nature, to keep your holding tank lines, your head lines that pump all the effluent through your system clean and free of clogs and effluent. Helps minimize odor and things of that nature. We also have a full line of accessories that mount on rails, all made out of stainless steel, all really high class, good high quality equipment. Tables and things of that nature, and that fit on pedestals, glass holders that fit on pedestals and things of that nature. And what we've really tried to do is to say, what would we like on our own boat and what would we like it to look like? And so we're designing really high-end, nice-looking, well-thought-out products that in our estimation are unmatched. They are more expensive, but they're one of those products that you buy it once and you take it with you from boat to boat to boat. And I'm a big believer, when you're out on the ocean, you need to have some good solid equipment on board. We make pumps if you're going to do some offshore voyaging. Edson's gallon-a-stroke bilge pump is renowned for saving boats in the in the past. It does a gallon a stroke. It's the highest capacity bilge pump in the market. So we do a lot of different things, Ron.
So next we're going to move on to the 445, and you're going to show us a little bit about that steering system, how that differs in the 355 and the 375.
Excellent.
Thanks, Will.
Very good, Ron.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. So here we are now with Will on the 445, which has been a very popular boat for Catalina since its inception. We call it the Messiah boat because it's helped bring a lot of people back to work. So Will, kind of describe what you did here on the 445 on this steering system.
Well, again, what we try and work for is efficiency, effectiveness in use, and just overall simplicity. And so what we've done on this boat is, underneath these stainless housings, we have Edson's bulkhead steerer, which is designed to go inside a pedestal and come out and either mount to a bulkhead or mount to a flat shelf, which it does here. All of the assembly drops in from the top, all the chain, all the wire, and everything is over the sprocket, over the shivs. It's all tied off in our factory. So when Catalina gets that component, all they need to do is just load that canister down into this pedestal and then put some bolts in down at the base. And so it's minimal man hours from that standpoint of view on the install, and it's very effective for them. And it's been an excellent steering system. It goes back to a radial drive wheel.
Continuous, right?
This one, it comes back to a quadrant.
Right.
Cables come in from the sides and go to the quadrant, and then there's a crossover cable in the middle that connects the two steering systems.
Here's it's a continuous wire system, right?
It's a continuous wire system.
So if you do get play on both sides, you should start tightening some cables up, right?
Exactly. You can tension a little bit in the middle. There's a crossover turnbuckle in the middle, and then there's also two take-up eyes at the quadrant, the aft end,
right,
back at the rudder post. And again, this boat has an independent autopilot system mounted on it, so again, that will steer the boat. In the event of any issues, turn your autopilot on and drive the boat with the autopilot on.
Well, Will, thanks a lot for spending some time with us here in Miami. Got any parting comments?
No, just go out and enjoy your boat. Use it. Get out there and have some fun.
Thanks.
Okay?
Thanks.
Super.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.